Okay, now that you've got started with your thesis, the key now is keeping on track. So this is where we really, really want to focus, because this is where those who stay on track finish within a year, and those who don't stay on track fall by the wayside. And it's a really hard place to get out of, but we've got more help for you if you do get stuck. But let's try not to go there. Let's try to keep on track. And what I want to share with you are ideas which have been really useful and effective in working with thesis students. This seems to be some of the ideas which help people. So I'm hoping they might help you. As I said in getting started, this is a self-directed journey, and that is why many people do fall off track. Let's see how you can build self-directed support structures so that you can stay motivated and you can stay on task. The idea is it's an iterative process, the thesis. It's not a linear process. We tend to think of most things as a linear process. You start, you go straight through, and you end. Instead, life is iterative. And so there's going to be lots of loops and twists and turns in the path. Sometimes we may be circling back on ourselves, and that's okay, because ultimately it does lead us to a brilliant place of you having a really successful thesis that you'll be very, very proud of. And the process will have been one, as much as possible, will have been an enjoyable learning journey. And so it's just that, it's a learning journey. And it's an iterative process that does keep reflecting and circling back upon itself so that you can move it and adapt and emerge this wonderful piece of work that you're engaged in. So let's get down to it. How do we keep on track? One of the first things you want to do is schedule. You have to create a map of this journey. And in order to do that, I suggested in getting started that you set those timelines out, that you organize very much what you want to do and when you want to do it. That's going to change and be updated, as I mentioned, in getting started. But let's look at how we can map that journey. First of all, your thesis is worth 12 credits. That equates to 400 hours. Now, this is a very quantifiable method of looking at it, and it may or may not work for you. But generally, you're looking at 400 hours. If you break that down, you're looking at 10 hours a week or 1 day a week for a year. Now, that may not work for you to break it down that way, but it gives you an idea of how much work is entailed here. It is significant, and so you do need to pay attention that this isn't something that you can just kind of attend to when everything else happens around you and you can have time for the thesis. So the number one thing is to be really honest with your time available and carve out your space for your thesis in your life and stick to it. That's one of the most important things. Stick to that time and make sure, as I suggested in getting started, sort out your time in a way that works for your big life picture. So you're not looking at your thesis as something that is a detractor and a sacrifice you have to go pay attention to. Instead, yes, this is my time for me, this is my time for thesis, and it's all laid out for me. So I'm not feeling guilty about taking that time. This is my time. And work that out with your family and work that out with your relationships that you share your life with. So be honest with your time available and make sure that you create a thesis project which is manageable given the time. We often want to take and do our life's work in our thesis. And although it's a really powerful, meaningful part of your work, your life, it's not your life's work. It's a part of your life which opens up whole new journeys that you're going to take after. So be manageable with the project so that it fits into the time that is available to you in 1 year. Now, once you've got this idea of the map and the journey that you're going to take, it's really important that you stay focused. And I'd say never, never, never put off your thesis. That's got to be one of your mantras. Put it up there on your wall. Never put it off. And there's lots of times when you may feel, and maybe you have to, if at some time you have to put it off because life happens, and then be in touch with us at Royal Roads as soon as possible. Many students have to take a leave, and that's totally okay. It's much better for you to take a leave and be realistic with not being able to attend to your thesis because some major event has happened in your life. Take the time to deal with it so then you can come back when you're ready to focus on the thesis, and it again becomes a very positive part of what you're doing in that year. So what I want you to do is think about motivating yourself to stay focused. Think about music, as I said before. Make it fun, fun, fun. Make it fun in terms of, yes, I love learning and this is quite interesting to follow this avenue. That's why I've chosen it. So make it a very positive event and create music which inspires you. Make your area where you're working very motivational and interesting. Try not to put yourself in a dark corner, which is really kind of depressing. Make yourself a place to work, which is a really nice place to be. So the other thing in staying focused is sometimes all sorts of different moods and ups and downs happen in life, and sometimes you just have to force yourself to sit down and do it. And that may be the case. It's going to happen time to time, but when you say, okay, it is my thesis time, I really don't feel like it, I have to do it, never put it off, sit down and start working. The point is, do something. It doesn't have to be what you originally planned if that really isn't going to work today, but do something. And I'm going to get to that in just a minute. So what I want you to do is think about your research question and stay focused by thinking about your research question. I often have my students put their thesis question right up there by their computer screen or wherever it is they're working so they can stay focused. Lots of things come up and interesting tangents come up, and you need to look at those tangents and look back at your research question to see if you're going to be led off track. How do we keep on track? Keep that research focus right in front of you. When you get these tangents, which are great, look at them. If they're relevant, go for it. If they're not relevant but they keep drawing you, then have a conversation back with your supervisor and ask them if this is something that you're missing. It keeps coming at you. Listen to those voices. And some students have reoriented and changed their research question when they've realized where they really want to go. Do that and listen to it. Listen to it early though. Don't go 6 months down the road and not be happy with where you're going. So find the research question, look at those tangents, reorient if you need to. Those are those feedback loops I was talking about. But stay focused on the question and try not to get pulled off the track. Okay, take the journey though. Some people get it all organized, but they're really reluctant to put it on paper. They're reluctant to take that journey. So what I was saying, when you sit down into your specified time, do something to make progress. Whether that's reading an article, writing in your journal, just writing your reflections, or I'm not feeling really good today, but these are my thoughts and ideas, do something. All of those little steps, if it's focused around your thesis, it's positive and it'll help keep you on track. Write, interview, analyze, whatever it is, do something. You've got a 4 to 6 week schedule and you can shuffle and change things within them depending on how life goes in a particular week. But make sure you stay focused and do something. So never put it off. Stay on it. I mentioned keeping it manageable, and that's something which can lead you off track. Sometimes it just kind of gets bigger, 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 and then it becomes so huge you can't see how on earth you're going to do it. So keep it manageable. Stay focused on your research question. This leads me to one of the most important things to stay on track, and that's your support structure. Use your support structure as much as you possibly can. Journey as a community. It's not an isolated solo journey unless you make it that way. You have huge support. First of all, you've got your family and your work. Share it and make it part of your life and work with those around you and have the support structure you need to make sure you can stay focused on your thesis. Work out a time so that your family and your work is not in conflict with your thesis time. Make it supportive. Your supervisor support is probably your most powerful support network. Keep in touch with that supervisor regularly. It's your responsibility. Some supervisors are very proactive and really help you stay focused by scheduling times, but it's really the student's responsibility to focus each and every one and schedule each and every one of those sessions. So I suggest what you do is you contact your supervisor and ask them, if you need to meet once a week, say, I need to meet once a week, when can we meet? I really need some feedback. I'm going to send you something. Can you get it back to me, and when can you? So you're driving it, and your supervisor will respond. Supervisors often sit back and wait for the student to get something to them. And then when you're not getting those time pressures put there for you, it's easy to let it fall by the wayside. So own it and drive it and be responsible for it by really engaging with your supervisor, setting up that schedule like I mentioned before, but then keeping in touch and initiate and make clear structural milestones with your supervisor. So you're staying engaged. And always, 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 I can put that in huge letter, always respond to your supervisor's email. Don't ever ignore a supervisor's email. Make that one of your mantras as well, because that will help you keep on track. Those who fall by the wayside are ignoring supervisors' emails. And once you ignore it once, it's easy to keep ignoring it. So put that up first, front and center. Never ignore an email. Even if you're super busy, just say, thanks for your email. I'm super busy. I'll get back to you tomorrow morning, or whatever it is, and make sure you keep to that. You also have your cohort, and you have Royal Roads still connected with you. So please make those connections and stay totally engaged with your triad, with your other cohort members. People who may not be in your triad, stay in touch and use that support network which we've set up for you. That will really help you feel connected and engaged. Share some of the successes and some of the obstacles, and that network can really help you move forward. The cohort sessions that I'll be setting up with Collaborate may also be really, really helpful, just as milestones to keep you checked in and motivated. So it's all interconnected. If you're losing focus, if you're losing enthusiasm or commitment, ask yourself why. There's really good reasons why that's happening, and journal. Write those thoughts and feelings down, ask those questions, and allow yourself to answer those questions and be really, really honest. Once you know why these things are happening, then we can address them. And you've got all those support structures I've just mentioned to help you address each and every one of those things which may be causing a barrier. It's not about obstacles, it's about barriers and challenges to overcome them. And that's very doable if you say, this is my journey, I want to succeed. How do I need to move now, given what I'm faced with? So stay interconnected and use those feedback loops, that information to keep moving forward. Be bold. Take control. Don't be afraid of sending unfinished material or sending drafts to your supervisor. That's what we're there for. Supervisors are there just to work with your unfinished ideas, your thoughts, your inclinations. They can work with it. It does not have to be perfect grammar, perfect layout before a supervisor sees it. Eventually it will need to be, but initially and all the way through this process, keep that communication going back and forth so you're getting feedback, you're getting direction, and you feel you're moving forward. Finally, reward, congratulate, and celebrate yourself and each and every success all along the way. If you've met each of the things you set out to do that week, celebrate. If you've had a brilliant idea, celebrate. If you've connected with people and shared your ideas, celebrate. Honestly, celebrate everything. Put on celebratory music every time you do something which is really powerful in helping you progress. Because a thesis is a big journey, let's celebrate all the little successes all along the way. Make it a wonderful journey, full of light, full of celebration, full of fun, and motivated, engaged, enjoyable journey. So, stay on track. This year, we're going to have a cohort that finishes 100% within the year, if at all possible. Stay tuned, keep in track. You can do it.